What's up guys, Axis here, back with another tutorial. Today I'm going to be doing a tutorial in Octane again. Octane Scatter this time. Today I'm going to be showing you how to create something similar to this. I don't really know what I'm going to call this tutorial. I wanted to say something like bubbles, but you know I've called like a ton of tutorials bubbles. Anyway, yeah, it's just this weird looking pattern. If you come into AxisFX, this is the rendered out version, as you can see. Very nice. It's just like an animated procedural kind of effect, and I think it looks quite nice, so I was going to do a tutorial on it. If you want to see more stuff on scatter and Octane, stuff like that, I've got a full like 2 to 3 hour tutorial on making an entire forest on my Selfie, which will be half price for today. And it'll go back up to full price, so if you want to go and check that out, first link in the description. So let's get into the tutorial now. New composition, and then I'm going to create a plane, and this is where we're going to scatter the objects. So if I bring in a scatter object, and of course a sphere, so this is ready to be an everyday because it contains a lot of spheres. So if we go into distribution and then drag the surface in, the plane as the surface into the object, there we go, got it out. And then we go to surface on the distribution. You can use a CSV file, which is you can create in like Excel, and you can generate, I think, using stuff like Phantom Scatter, but that's a paid program, so I might look into that in the future, but not right now. If you're new to scatter, then this might be a bit foreign to you, but it's pretty simple. It's just kind of like the cloner object, but you can't really see what's going on in here. It's just kind of visual representation, which you can change here. So you can do whatever you want. You can even have object if you want, but kind of one of the advantages to using this is that you don't have the viewport slowdown that's created by having tons and tons of polygons in here. So I'm just going to put it back to the line, and also if there's a lot of objects, if you're like scattering grass or something, you can turn down the display, which can be not necessarily better for speed up, but better because you can actually see what's going on in your scene. So I don't remember what size I had this at, but I'm going to guess something pretty small, like 1 to 3 or something like that. Even then, we can control it all on here. So I moved up the position to 20 on the y-axis, and then what we're going to do is we're going to turn on, we're going to add a scale shader, which is going to be the noise. So I'm going to increase this a lot. Bit slow down there. So yeah, I must have had this a bit smaller, but as you can see already, this is a really cool effect. I might get some lighting in here just so you guys can actually see a bit better what's going on. Add some textures. Not always the best practice to add stuff like lighting at the start, because I always feel like I don't really focus on what I'm doing. I'm like on the scene, I focus on the lighting mainly. So I'm going to add one of these free HDRIs that I found online. If you just look up the name of it, then you can probably find it. Not taking any credit for any of this or anything. So I'm not going to put a download link. You guys can just look this up, try and find it if you're interested. So then I'm going to add a shader. So on the ground I'm going to add like a really rough dark material. So index 0, diffuse, black. Turn down the specular, and we've got a darker object. Sorry. And then turn up the roughness. So something like that. I want it to be way darker. Something like this. That's looking alright. And then we're going to add a glossy material to the sphere, because I feel like it's a miss if you don't add a sparkly material to a sphere, because the reflections on spheres are just just great. So I might turn up the roughness a bit. But that's the gist of it. I don't think I had this nearly as high. In fact, maybe I did, I don't know. Something like that. And then I'll scale up the plane a bit more. So then from here what we can do is I added a random effector. The bad thing about the scatter, well, one of the bad things is that you can't just select it and then it will go into the effector section automatically, like a cloner does, for example. Also, it's a really small box, but you can expand it. So yeah, now you can have like tons of effectors in here. I mean, you could have that before. It's just a lot easier to see everything out in full if you expand the box. So from here, I'm gonna go and mess around with the noise, and you can pretty much do anything with this. The sad thing is that you can't use a lot of Octane shaders because for whatever reason it doesn't seem to work. I don't know if it's just because like it takes the information from, oh, actually it worked. Wait, did it? Or was that the is that the, I'm not really sure. If I turn up the contrast, yeah, it doesn't work. I think it seems to like take whatever information that is from this thumbnail that I'm circling, but I really don't know. I feel like Octane should, or Otoy should actually make that work, because you know it's shaders inside their own program that don't work in specific nodes that they've created, like the scatter object. Doesn't make any sense. Anyway, bit of a tangent there. So I'm going to turn up the contrast. And I think the noise I used for this is Ober, which is a really nice, see, like there's like nice strands of dark, which basically, if you don't know, black means 0%, white means 100%, everything in between, you can work it out. We've got like kind of nice streams here going through the object, or through the scatter, and it looks really nice. So how I did the animation is basically, normally with animation speed, this is what confused me at first. If you turn this up, what it should do is it should animate anyway. So if we right click on the thumbnail and click animate, you can see it's going, right? It's animating. But if I play this back, you can see nothing is changing here. So what I realized you had to do was you had to animate the speed itself for some reason. I don't really know how this works. Well, like, I don't understand why it works. That's more like it. And it's better to do increments of 0.1, I feel. So maybe 0.1 for this entire thing. And if I play this back, you should be able to see a change in the viewport. Nope. It's quite a gradual change. So if I go from the start and then I go to the end, as you can see, it's changed now. So this would just be a gradual change throughout the entire thing. If I skim through it, there we go. We have the change. So yeah, kind of weird, but that's how it works. So if I get this back up, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, I think I changed the, oh no, I changed it to uniform scale, and then I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything here. Basically, uniform scale means that if I change this value to like 5, just the singular value, it will scale everything else up. Ideally, what it would do is it would get rid of these 2 boxes here if it like worked properly, but it doesn't for some reason. But yeah, uniform scale basically just means I only have to change 1 box, or 1 value. So now I'm going to mess around with the random. I'm also going to put this back to like 1. And if we turn on the random, everything gets all messed up, and I turn down the random a bit. So there's like, so obviously you can see like these really defined streams through it and stuff, which I really like. And then all I changed was the scale and the position, not the rotation, because it obviously wouldn't do anything. It's a sphere. And I also left it completely apart from I turned on uniform scale, I believe, and I turned X and Z to 2 each, and it creates this really weird effect when you have tons and tons of spheres in here. It looks pretty cool actually. So what I also did was I created like a variation. I had like a 0.1 object and a 1. You can also change the colors. You can have like a gold one. I did have some really small gold ones, gold objects as well. So I might just scale this down instead of turning up the distribution, so it's not so hard on the GPU. There, as we can see, we're kind of getting the effect coming through. It looks kind of weird, but when we get a camera in here and then get some depth of field, you know, blur makes everything look nice. So I've got the camera in here. I've turned on post-processing. I'm going to put it on like 5. I used to use a lot of post-processing, but I don't really like it, or I don't like it in excess at least. So I'm going to turn on camera imager as well. So I'm going to use this response. I like this one. Also going to put it on neutral. Actually doesn't seem to do anything in this case. Normally what it will do is it should make everything pretty blue. But in this case I like it when it looks blue. So I'm also going to turn down vignetting. And then I'm going to turn on the aperture. What I did for this was I did a manual focus. So we turn off autofocus, control click anywhere in here, and you should be able to focus on something. Obviously this is quite a small scene, so maybe turn down the aperture to like 10 or 5. It's also really blue. I don't remember it being this blue, so maybe I was messing around with some of these objects. I mean, some of these parameters. That actually looks quite nice. And also I think I was using path tracing, which makes everything look more reflective. Also adds a lot of grain, so keep that in mind. You're going to have to turn up samples a lot more, and also path tracing takes longer to render than direct lighting, even if you're using the same amount of samples. A lot of people seem to write off this hot pixel removal, but it's a really useful parameter. As you can see, basically removes everything if I turn it all the way down. But basically you're trading, I don't know if I said this before, but you're basically trading pixels or pixelation noise for blur. So 0.5 normally works fine for me. When there's enough samples here, it should look really nice. But when people first turn it down, they're like, oh no, it's all blurry, you don't like it. But, you know, just wait for it to render and it will look nice. Trust me. So, yeah, we just changed it again, so I'm gonna refocus that. So yeah, I'm gonna mess around with the noise a bit more. I don't actually know if it's updated or not. Oh yeah, it definitely hasn't updated. Wait, yeah, it has. Okay. And a nice effect you can kind of get is if you drag down high clip, I think. Yeah. And then if you also drag up low clip, this could be a nice animation kind of fade in. Basically, you can just turn it up. I'm trying to make it so that it kind of like the spheres would like fade in kind of thing. And I figured it out, but now I've completely forgotten. So, I mean, I guess you could do it with the brightness. That works too. So yeah, just mess around with this effect. There's tons of different noises to choose from here. Just within the standard one. Even that one looks kind of nice. I wonder what that looks like. Oh, that's so cool. See, just messing around in this, you can get really cool results. And then also, I might add. I'm going to turn off the blur at the moment. And then I'm just going to go in here. No. Maybe turn up high clip. There, that's pretty nice. So if we have something like this, I'm going to add maybe a specular material instead. See how that looks. Are we on? Yeah, we're on path tracing. That's kind of weird. The material looks like it's on looks like it's on direct lighting. Oh, that's because it's such an idiot. Alright, yeah, you turn up the index, there we go. So now you can see, kind of looks like bubbles. So I mean, I don't really know what I'm going to be calling this, but that does look quite like bubbles. So yeah, I mean, certainly you can't really, you don't have as much functionality as like making, you know, bubbles in like Houdini or something. But this could be like a cool still image. Like if you were to put this inside like a bottle or some kind of weird lab thingy, then that could look quite cool. So something like that. Just some ideas. And hopefully this allows you to kind of expand and learn a bit more about scatter, because really this program is just all about experimenting, and if you can get a cool result out of it, you know, that's even better. So thanks for watching. If you want to learn more about scatter, like I said before, I've got 50% off that forest tutorial. It's like a fully fledged, not like a breakdown. It's like I create the entire scene there. So if you want to go check that out, 50% off for the first day, and then it goes back up. Drop a like if you enjoyed and subscribe for more content like this. Leave a comment if you have any questions, or if you want to ask of whether I bought Octane or not. And I'll see you guys in the next tutorial.